The more details that keep coming out about this Seahawks backfield, the more it feels like this team might be cooking up something seriously dangerous for next season. And honestly, I don't think enough people are talking about how different this offense could look once everything starts coming together. There are some huge clues about the plan moving forward, and if this actually works the way they want it to, Seattle fans are going to love what's coming. Let's analyze this, but first click the like button and write in the comments, "Go Hawks! This season is ours." The Seattle Seahawks may have just revealed their entire running back blueprint for the 2026 season, and if this latest report from ESPN's Brady Henderson is accurate, Seattle is not planning to build this offense around just one featured back anymore. Instead, what Mike Macdonald and Brian Fleury appear to be constructing is something much more dangerous for opposing defenses. A deep, relentless, multi-back system built on competition, explosiveness, versatility, and pure physical punishment. Ever since the Seahawks selected Jadarian Price with the 32nd overall pick in the NFL Draft, the national reaction immediately became predictable. Analysts instantly assumed Seattle had found Kenneth Walker's direct replacement after Walker departed for Kansas City. But inside the organization, that doesn't appear to be the mindset at all. According to Henderson's report, the Seahawks are not viewing Price as a guaranteed RB1 who automatically walks into a massive workload. Instead, they seem committed to continuing the same multi-back approach that helped carry this team during its championship run last season. That detail changes everything about how fans should look at this roster moving forward. Seattle's front office clearly believes the running game became stronger once the offense stopped depending on a single player and embraced the two-headed monster philosophy late in the year. During the playoff run, Kenneth Walker handled more carries largely because Zach Charbonnet suffered an injury. But internally, the Seahawks viewed the success as a product of rotation, freshness, matchup advantages, and specialization. Now they're doubling down on that formula. Brady Henderson specifically reported that Jadarian Price should be viewed more as a replacement for Walker within the rotation rather than a locked-in RB1. That is a massive distinction because it confirms Seattle plans to heavily involve Emmanuel Wilson, George Holani, and eventually Zach Charbonnet once he recovers from his ACL injury. And honestly, when you look deeper into each player's skill set, this approach starts making a lot of sense. The Seahawks absolutely love Jadarian Price's fit in Brian Fleury's offense. Henderson noted that the coaching staff believes Price's running traits compare favorably to Jeremiah Love, and that Seattle sees him as an ideal outside-zone runner. That matters because Fleury's offense is expected to lean heavily into outside-zone concepts, demanding vision, patience, acceleration, and the ability to identify cutback lanes quickly. That's exactly where Price separates himself. Seattle doesn't just believe they drafted an explosive athlete. They believe they drafted one of the smartest runners in the entire class. His ability to locate running lanes, manipulate defenders with timing, and maximize blocking angles is what has the organization excited. Explosiveness gets headlines, but vision creates longevity in the NFL, and the Seahawks appear convinced Price possesses both. What makes this even more interesting is that Price may not even become the unquestioned lead back immediately. The Seahawks are preparing for a legitimate competition. George Holani quietly earned major trust from the coaching staff during the playoff stretch after Charbonnet's injury elevated him into a bigger role. Henderson specifically highlighted Holani's contributions in pass protection and, as a receiver, two areas that often determine who stays on the field during critical situations. Seattle believes Holani can potentially become a legitimate RB2, despite having only 25 carries across his first 2 seasons. That confidence says a lot. Fans tend to focus heavily on rushing stats, but coaches obsess over reliability. Pass protection, Blitz recognition, route discipline, and situational awareness are the traits that keep offenses functioning. If Holani continues developing in those areas, he could carve out an extremely important role in this offense, even while Price handles a larger percentage of early down carries. Then there's Emmanuel Wilson, who may end up becoming one of the most fascinating players in this entire backfield. Unlike Price or Holani, Wilson brings a completely different running style. He attacks defenders with aggression and physicality. Seattle sees him as a potential power back capable of creating the thunder portion of this offense, while the quicker backs handle the lightning responsibilities. And here's where things become truly intriguing. Wilson might actually push Zach Charbonnet for that role once Charbonnet returns healthy. That possibility alone tells you how serious Seattle is about competition right now. Nobody is being handed anything. Draft status doesn't guarantee touches. Previous production doesn't guarantee security. Every single role inside this offense appears open for battle. That philosophy reflects exactly how Mike Macdonald wants this team built. Competition has become the defining identity of this roster. Whether it's quarterback battles, rotational defenders, offensive line development, or now the running back room, the Seahawks are demanding that players earn opportunities instead of inheriting them. That culture shift is impossible to ignore. For years, NFL teams have fallen into the trap of overcommitting financially to star running backs, only to discover that scheme, depth, and offensive structure often matter more than individual fame. Seattle appears determined not to repeat that mistake. Instead of tying the offense to one expensive player, John Schneider reloaded the position with younger, cheaper, versatile talent capable of fitting the system perfectly. And the timing couldn't be more important. The Seahawks know the NFC is becoming faster, deeper, and more physically demanding every season. Surviving an entire playoff run requires depth at every position, especially running back. Injuries happen. Fatigue builds. Defenses adjust. Seattle's answer seems to be overwhelming opponents with fresh legs and different skill sets every single week. The scary part for the rest of the league is that this room might not even be complete yet. Kenneth Walker's departure created national panic outside Seattle, but internally, the Seahawks appear extremely confident they've already solved the problem. In fact, they may believe they upgraded the overall structure of the room by adding multiple players who fit Fleury's offense naturally instead of relying heavily on one superstar contract. Then you add in the possibility that Zach Charbonnet could recover faster than expected. Despite tearing his ACL during the divisional round of the playoffs and not undergoing surgery until February, Seattle reportedly believes his work ethic gives him a chance to beat the normal recovery timeline. That optimism says a lot about how the organization views Charbonnet mentally and physically. His toughness already became legendary internally, after many initially assumed he had merely suffered a bruise, before learning the injury was actually a torn ACL. If Charbonnet returns earlier than expected, suddenly the Seahawks could have one of the deepest backfields in football. Imagine a rotation featuring Jadarian Price's vision and explosiveness, Holani's versatility, Wilson's physicality, and Charbonnet's bruising downhill style, all operating inside Fleury's zone-heavy offense. Defenses would constantly face different tempos, different body types, and different strengths without ever getting a chance to settle in. And perhaps the biggest takeaway from all of this is that Seattle genuinely believes this system is sustainable long-term. John Schneider appears to have fully embraced roster flexibility over star dependency. Instead of chasing headlines, the Seahawks are trying to build a machine that keeps functioning regardless of which individual player leaves. That mindset may ultimately define whether this championship window stays open for years. Because if Seattle successfully develops another dominant rushing attack without overpaying at the position, It allows resources to continue strengthening the offensive line, defense, pass rush, and quarterback room. That's how dynasties maintain relevance. That's how contenders reload instead of rebuilding. And if this is really the direction the Seahawks are heading, then the rest of the NFC better start paying attention right now, because this backfield could become one of the most dangerous and unpredictable units in the entire league. Seattle isn't just replacing talent anymore. They're building competition, depth, and a system designed to keep producing no matter who lines up in the backfield. And honestly, that might be the smartest move John Schneider and Mike Macdonald have made yet. But now, I want to hear from you guys. Do you believe Jadarian Price eventually becomes the true RB1? Or do you think this committee approach is exactly what the Seahawks need to defend their championship? Drop your thoughts down in the comments, because I'll be reading every single one of them. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss any Seahawks news, rumors, or exclusive updates. We've got content dropping every single day, and trust me, the biggest Seahawks stories are only getting started. Click the video that's on your screen right now for more Seattle Seahawks coverage, and stay locked in, because the latest Seahawks news always happens right here first.